Okay, so for the next question, we are taking a look at a multi-sided polygon. Specifically, our multi-sided polygon is a regular octagon. So if you are familiar with polygons and you know an octagon has 8 sides, octo for octagon, octo means 8. So we have a regular octagon has sides that measure 4 inches. So each side of this polygon, specifically this octagon, is going to have 4-inch sides. You're going to sketch the octagon on the grid below, assuming a grid spacing of 1 inch, and calculate the area. Check the reasonableness of your answer by estimating the area. Count the number of 1-inch square units enclosed by the shape. Okay, so essentially what we're doing is we are going to use the center point and we are going to try and draw out a octagon and then calculate the area of our octagon and see how reasonable that answer is. Okay, so few things to note about the multi-sided polygon, specifically in our case, an octagon. Is a regular polygon is a polygon with all sides equal and all interior angles equal. So all my sides are going to be equal, all right? So in the case with our octagon, it has 4-inch sides, so each side of my octagon is going to be 4 inches, okay? Now we have two different ways of drawing out polygons. We can do an inscribed polygon, where the polygon is placed inside the circle, and then we have a circumscribed polygon where the polygon is placed on the outside of the circle so that all sides of the polygon are tangent. Tangent means to touch to the circle. So this right here, this is a tangent point, tangent point, tangent point, all the way around, okay? So you might hear the word tangent, especially when you get into your geometry and other math classes. Tangent means to touch. So in this case where we have the side of our polygon and then the circle touches it at that one point, that is referred to as tangent. All right. Examples of multi-sided polygons, you've probably seen these before. We have pentagons, hexagons, octagons. In our case, we're going to be working with an octagon. And we are going to find the area of a multi-sided polygon. And we can do that if the side length and the number of sides is known, which we do know the side length. It's 4 inches. That was given to us. And we know the number of sides for an octagon. That would be 8. This is the formula that we're going to use to find the area of a multi-sided polygon. Now I understand that this looks a little bit more complex, but I promise you, if you can plug in what you know, you'll be able to solve for the area of our octagon, because we know that n represents the number of sides, which in our case is going to be 8. We know that S represents our side length, which in our case is going to be 4. And then we can go through and solve for it mathematically using PEMDAS and successfully find our area. Okay, so back over here. I have drawn the center of my octagon, and I've started drawing out 2 of the sides. I know that each square is equal to 1 inch, and I know that the side of my octagon is meant to be 4 inches. So this is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is also 4. I'm going to give it the exact same spacing from left and right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my case. Make this 4 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make this 4. All right, and then I'm going to connect these together. So then hopefully I end up with something that looks at least halfway similar to an octagon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sides. 8 sides is our polygon. Okay. Side length, I have indicated that here, so 4 inches. And then the number of sides, 8. And so on this next page, I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So for number of sides, we have 8. So area, so I'm going to move it over here. Area is equal to the number of sides. So our octagon has 8 times the length of our side, which is 4 inches squared. I'm going to multiply that. And then 4 times the tangent. There's that word again, tangent. 180 divided by the number of sides. Number of sides, once again, will be 8. Okay? So PEMDAS, parentheses, no. Exponents, yes. We have 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 8 is 128. I don't know why that didn't write. There we go. 128. Okay? And then we have 4 times the tangent of 180 divided by 8, and that's going to be 22.5. So 180 divided by 8, 22.5. Okay, so this is looking a little less complex now. 22.5 parentheses. Okay. Now, one thing to note is in order for you to do tangent, your calculator on the computer is going to default as the standard. You are going to need a scientific calculator in order to get into sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so you might not have used this feature before, but I just want you to be aware that if you are using a calculator on Google, or if you're using a calculator on your computer, or if you have a calculator, a physical calculator, you're going to need a scientific calculator in order to calculate tangents, okay? Now, looking at this, I have 4 times the tangent of 22.5. There is some syntax that needs to be observed whenever you are typing into a calculator your tangents. So I know that for this calculator, what you need to do is type in the value that we're finding the tangent of first, so 22.5. And then where it says trigonometry, we need to select tangent. So it's going to take the tangent of 22.5, and it's this small number right here, 0.41, okay? Then, once we have that number, so we now have 0.41, and I guess I'll go ahead and write that in there to remain consistent with what we're working through. So we have 128 over 4 times, we found the tangent of 22.5 to be 0.41. Okay, so this is definitely getting more simple now. So I'm going to take that 0.41. Notice I'm leaving all the decimal points in there. I don't need to clear that out. Times 4. All right, so now we have 1.6. Let's see, 1.7. So 128 divided by 1 point, we'll say, take it to do decimal points to keep it consistent as well. Okay, so now we have 128 divided by this. So 128 divided by the 1.66, and that works out to be our area of 77.1. So the area is 77.1, let's see, inches squared, because it is an area. Okay? So while this looked more complicated, okay, because the formula, not going to lie, is a little bit more complicated, it's still very reasonable to get it solved, okay? You just plug in what you know. So in this case, 8 sides, 4-inch side length. This found it to be 128. Even if you didn't know what you were doing, you could still successfully find at least the numerator, okay? And then get partially through the denominator by taking the 180 and divide it by 8, and you could end up with 128 is divided by 4 times the tangent of 22.5, okay? You would want to do this first, and then multiply this answer times your 4. Okay, so that is one thing, one equation, okay? Then we found what tangent of 22.5 is, which is 0.41, multiplied it by that 4, took it, 128 divided by 1.66 is equal to 77.1 inches squared, okay? So that gives us our area. So my area, once all this plugged in, is equal to 77.1 inches squared.